Oh, I've got a really fun story to tell you here. You're going to want to listen to this one. If you're asleep right now, let's have you wake up. You want to hear this story. Who has heard of fecal microbiota transplants? We call it FMT. So, fecal microbiota transplant. What that is basically is a poop transplant. No, it's not a laughing matter. It is real. This is a really expanding area of research going on right now around the world. People are starting to see that there could be some benefit in taking feces from a healthy person and transplanting it into the colon of an unhealthy person. There's a lot of research going on right now. I know it sounds ridiculous. The way to think of it is you should all know that you have bacterial colonies in your intestines. Okay, bacteria, they live symbiotically with us. We feed them, they help us manufacture certain vitamins, and they help us digest our food. So we have this symbiotic relationship with bacteria. The new studies that are coming out are starting to say that people who have no problems with digestion tend to have certain bacterial colonies. They'll, find out what bacterial colonies are in people who have digestive problems, and it might be a different species. Basically, you've got the wrong makeup of bacteria in your colon. So this is where the fecal microbiota transplant can come into play, as Megan says there, to transfer good gut bacteria. You can take good bacteria from someone and put that in someone who potentially has the bad gut bacteria. Now, this is such a huge area of research. Like I said, the preliminary results are really good for people who have Clostridium difficile infections, which is a common nosocomial infection that you can get from hospitals. So people who have problems with Clostridium difficile have shown very positive results from getting fecal microbiota transplants, poop transplants. But as far as I know, there haven't really been that many studies to support other uses for it. Like, for instance, if you have Crohn's disease, I don't think there's been that much research to show yet. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't help. I just don't think the research is coming in yet. Same for ulcerative colitis. I don't know for sure if there's much research to support it yet, but these are things that through lots of research around the world, maybe we'll start to hear some positive stories about it. Yes, Francesco, I was just going to mention that there's also the thought that some people who are obese, part of the reason is because of their gut colonies not being the right ones. Now, this also goes back to you are what you eat. So if you eat tons of sugar all the time, then the bacterial colonies in your guts, they're going to want to eat sugar, right? They're going to be set up that they can metabolize glucose. And what's even more bizarre, I guess, is we're starting to realize that there's a gut-brain connection, and that we almost could consider the gut to be like another brain. Okay, I know it sounds weird, but there are like neurotransmitters in your gut. If the bacteria are hungry for sugar all the time, that might influence your behavior so that you want to eat sweet stuff because of the bacteria wants to eat sweet stuff. Isn't that crazy? So the bacteria may be affecting your behavior because they want sugar, and that could make you crave sugar. So it's pretty bizarre stuff. Huge area of research. If you're interested in that, I would highly recommend dive into that kind of research, because there's a lot of cool things that we can still learn. So let's take this clinical story even further. I've donated my feces to one of my patients. Yes. So what happened was maybe 5 years ago, I got an email from one of my patients, and they said, "Hey, it's so and so. I don't know if you remember me, but you treated my wrist a year or two ago, and I have something really weird that I want to ask you," and just kind of left the email like that. So I read the email, and I remembered the patient right away because I remember all my patients. And I emailed her back and said, "Yeah, what's up? Totally remember you. And what's your question?" So she emailed me back this long email, and it basically said that her life has pretty much been ruined by ulcerative colitis. That she has tried everything. She's tried all these different diets, and she's basically tried everything, is the way that she put it. And she was desperate to try and fix her problem because she just can't go on living this way. She said, "Have you heard of fecal microbiota transplants?" And I had heard of it. I had read a little bit about it because it is interesting. And I replied to her and I said, "Yes, I am a little bit familiar with it." And she basically said, "Would you be willing to donate to me?" Because, she had done a lot of research, and for someone to be a donor, then you just want to have a few things, right? You want to be generally very healthy. You don't want to be a smoker. You want to eat healthy foods. You want to be, I think, between 20 and 40, I think was the age range, she said. There was a few other things, but basically you want someone who lives a healthy lifestyle. So she basically said, "I'm asking you because, you sort of know me, but not really. And, am I going to ask my uncle?" Like, that's even more weird, right? Wouldn't it be better to ask your doctor than to ask your uncle? She felt comfortable with me. And this goes back to like bedside manner again, how you want to make your patients feel like you care. You actually care about if they're doing okay. So that's probably why she felt comfortable reaching out. And I said, "Sure, yeah, let's give it a try." So we set it up. She dropped off some supplies to my house, Rubbermaid little like things that you would put food in. She dropped a few of those off, dropped some big plastic bags off, dropped some saline solution. What ended up happening was she said, "Okay, oh, one other recommendation is that you should have a schedule of bowel movements that are pretty consistent," which for me, they are very consistent. So I wake up in the morning and I can pretty much set my watch to what time I'm going to have to go. And so I was able to tell her, "Okay, come by at, say, 9 a.m. and I'll have your package sitting on the front step." So that's how we did it. Basically had to do my business into that plastic container and then pour saline solution into it, seal it up, obviously, make sure it doesn't leak, and then place it on the front step. And she came, picked it up, and then her and her boyfriend went home. They put it in a blender and mixed it up, and then they use a tube to put things up into your colon. Yeah, turkey baster, kind of like that. An enema, that's the word I was looking for. An enema where you put something inside your colon. This just shows you how desperate some people can get, right? They just really want to find some results. She tried it. She got back to me, said that she felt better for maybe like 3 days, but then she kind of went back to the way she was. So then she said, "I would like to do another round. Let me know if that's okay with you." And I said, "Of course, no, anytime I can help you out." But then she kind of just fell off. She didn't really reach out again for a while. And then maybe a year later, she reached out again and she said, "I'd like to try it again." I said, okay, no problem. Let's do it. So we tried it again. I think the problem was she only did it once. And this is where we run into the problem of not enough research. So we don't know what is the best way to do it. We don't know, should you do it every day? Should you do it 3 times a week? How much should you do? Should it be 250 ml? Should it be blended, or should you encapsulate it so you could encapsulate it and you could take it orally? All these questions that need answering still. I don't think they have a proper protocol yet. And at that time, like 5 years ago, no one was actually doing it because it's still so experimental. She had to get direction from a doctor in Brazil to walk her through how to do it, because people in Canada, as far as she knew, hadn't quite adopted it yet. When she tried it the second time, it was the same thing. She said it helped for like maybe 3 days or so, but then kind of went back again. My small study of N1 is that maybe it is beneficial, but we just don't know the proper protocol in how to administer it properly. And after she tried that one, I think she reached out a couple times again and said, I'd like to try it again, but she never reached out again. So I think part of it is just people are embarrassed too, right? It's uncomfortable to ask someone to donate to them, right? I tried to help, but I don't know how helpful it is. Francesco says, yeah, charge. I didn't charge her at all. It was all free. And did she change her lifestyle? I think she did. I think she does really try and live healthy. Interesting story. Maybe you could contribute to the research behind it someday, because I think it holds a lot of possibilities for people. I thought you'd enjoy that story. Thank you.